Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to the City of Farmers Branch Council meeting for Tuesday, November 12th. If you would, please join me for our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. I had the invocation written out, and now I can't get it pulled up on my computer, so let me just try to do it by memory. If you would bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we ask you to give us wisdom this evening as our council comes together to serve our residents. Please help us to do right by you and for all the residents of our city. We ask for your blessing upon our firefighters and police officers and all who serve the citizens of Farmers Branch. Thank you for shining your light down upon us and making us the city that we are. We look forward to serving you and ask again for your blessing. Amen. If you would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. So next up are ceremonial items, and tonight we only have one, and that is to receive outgoing remarks from Councilman Martin Baird. Councilman? So Councilman Baird has served our city with dignity and respect. And as I said out in the lobby a little bit ago, this is not an easy job, and it will take a toll on anybody who serves. You have to make decisions, some of which are going to be received very, very well, some of which are not going to be received well. But at the end of the day, it's important for all of us to remember that we are all residents, we're all neighbors, and we're neighbors trying to serve each other. And I think Councilman Baird has done that extremely well. And so while I'm very sorry to see him leaving his term early, I want to wish him the best. I think I speak for everybody on council in saying we do wish you the very, very best. And we thank you for your service. And as a little token of your service, or for your service, we have this appreciation collage, and it says, with great appreciation to Martin Baird for your dedicated service as District 2 City Council Member 2023 to 2024. Thank you for your commitment and service.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And this is what everybody really likes. So, and I'm happy to present you with your very own street sign, and it's got his term on here. And so I hope you'll display that at your house
Absolutely.
with pride.
Absolutely.
Would you care to say a few words?
Sure. Well, it's been a great experience overall. I've learned a whole lot. I've learned a lot about myself. And I so appreciate the folks that I've served with. I have a few thank yous going way back quickly. When I was trying to decide to run, I met with the mayor and Richard Jackson, and I want to thank both of y'all for helping me work through all of the decisions and questions I had. In my campaigning, I want to thank my treasurer, David Taylor. I want to thank Brenda Broderick and Rick Johnson, who also were integral in helping me get elected. I want to thank Jaime Rivas for asking me to get together, because while he was running for mayor, he wanted to get together with everybody who was running for office at that time, and I think all the council at that time also he met with, and I thought that was a great thing that he did. Of course, I appreciate everyone who voted in that election for me or for anybody, because I think that that we all need to be more involved in our city government and vote, because we have the right to, and we should exercise that right. Again, I'm very appreciative of the city staff and the city manager and how great they have been to me in this time I've been here. Again, to the former and current council members who I served with, you guys made it easy. You helped teach me when I didn't know anything, which was basically I didn't know anything when I started. And I appreciate all the support that all of you gave to me. So, and Tina too. And I want to end talking mainly to the residents of the city with just a quick little story. Forgive me, I lose words here every once in a while. Not really a story, but just something to think about, and something that we should all try to do, and that is the following. Always assume you don't have all of the information that is needed in a particular situation. And let me give you some examples. When I was running for this office, I heard 4 different stories about both of the mayoral candidates last year, about one of the sitting council persons, and about myself. And the story about myself that I heard going around, I knew right away was not true. The other 3 stories seemed slightly plausible, but there was something off about them. And I could end my little speech right there and just say, so always, try to get all the information. Well, I was green and naive enough last year when I ran that when I heard these 3 stories, I thought, I'm just going to go talk to the people that were named in the stories. And so I went and talked to all the people involved and asked, I said, hey, this is what I'm hearing in the grapevine. And can you tell me if I'm just interested, is this true or is this not true? And all of them, so 4 stories, me and the other 3, they all turned out to have this kernel of truth. Yes, the situation was true, but what happened was not true. So it was spun into something that frankly was trying to make those of us that were either on council or running to not look very good. And that's kind of sad, I think. So I guess I'm imploring everybody, myself included, to not jump to conclusions when you hear a certain something about anybody that serves here or is running for office. In fact, I think that, well, I'll leave that out because never mind. Again, I appreciate everybody here so much. City staff, city manager, mayor, council. It's been a great experience, and I'm very, very glad I did it. So thank you again. Thank you.
So next up are our items of community interest. Oh, I turned it off, sorry.
Councilmember Reed invites all Farmers Branch residents to his District 3 Town Hall meeting this Thursday, November 14th, from 6 to 8 p.m. right here at City Hall. Make sure to stop by and discuss topics not only affecting District 3, but the entire city. In recognition of the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, please be aware that all city facilities will be closed on Thursday, November 28th for Thanksgiving. And then for your convenience, the recreation center and aquatic centers will maintain limited hours on Friday, November 29th, operating until 5 p.m., but all other city facilities will remain closed on Friday. The Christmas Carnival. Make sure to mark your calendars for Saturday, December 7th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Farmers Branch Historical Park for our free Christmas Carnival event. Come immerse yourself in a Christmas wonderland filled with the sounds, sights, and flavors of the holiday season. This event will have carnival rides, kids' activities, and live musical performances. You won't want to miss your chance to see Santa and a holiday drone and fireworks show finale. Do you want to know what projects are going on in Farmers Branch? What's going on with the branch connection, even though we just got a little bit of an update? How about the Denton Drive infrastructure project? If you want to know more, check out our city project dashboard to stay in the know and up to date on the status of capital projects around the city. You can go on to farmersbranchtx.gov under government and city projects, or just scan the QR code up on the screen. And then, as always, you can sign up for City e-News at farmersbranchtx.gov. Mayor?
Thank you very much. Next up are our items, our citizen comments. I do not have anybody signed up to speak. Anybody have citizen comment? Seeing none. Moving right along. Item K is our consent agenda. And Councilman?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to request that K17 be taken off consent and moved to regular, please.
K17 will be moved to regular agenda and serve as item M6. With that, we will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda with the adjustment of having K17 moved to the regular agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. And let me just remind everybody, our voting system, electronic voting system is not working tonight, so we will do all votes by show of hands. So we have a motion and a second. If you would, show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next up is public hearing. Item L1, conduct a public hearing and consider adopting ordinance number 3886 relative to the Farmers Branch Youth Program Standards of Care in compliance with the Texas Human Resource Code, Chapter 42.041B, Subchapter 14, and take appropriate action.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Ashley Munoz, Recreation Manager, and I will be presenting the standards of care for you all tonight. Summer Funshine is an all-day camp program that began in 1991. Approximately 250 youth register for the program every summer, with over 70% being residents and 40% of those residents receiving financial aid. Camp is in session from the first day of summer vacation until it ends, operating 11 hours a day. Campers spend their days learning new skills, enjoying field trips, and creating lasting memories. You see in front of you, those are 3 pictures from this past summer. Staff development training topics include American Red Cross, CPR, first aid, AED, and certification training, recognizing and identifying child abuse and sexual harassment given by our police department, facility orientation, staff manual review, and other HR-related information. Beginning in 1994, state laws require youth programs to be licensed as daycare programs. In 1995, Senate Bill 212 was enacted, exempting municipal youth programs from child care licensing requirements. With the enactment of Senate Bill 212, the city annually adopts the standards of care by ordinance following a public hearing. The notice of public hearing was published to the Dallas Morning News on September 23rd and October 14th of this year. And to your right is the publication in the Dallas Morning News with us rescinding Ordinance 3822 and adopting 3886. Do we have any questions?
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councilman Reed? Councilman Baird? Roman? No questions. Okay, this item is marked for action.
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance 3886 as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is our regular agenda. First item is item N1, consider approving Resolution 2024-182, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with QBE Medical Stop Loss Insurance for the plan year 2025 in an amount not to exceed $603,076.92 and take appropriate action.
Yoko Matsumoto, thank you for having me this evening, Director of Human Resources. Tonight, what we're asking for is approval or a vote on our annual stop-loss insurance. We have to bring this item back on an annual basis, and we do have Ryan Wiggins here from our broker firm of McGriff to talk through those steps, and then once we're done, we will answer any questions you may have. So, Ryan?
Good evening, council members. My name is Ryan Wiggins. Again, I'm with McGriff Insurance Services. We are employed by the city to help procure all of your employee benefits and health insurance needs. Stop loss, just real quick, so I can kind of fill in what is stop loss. So the city self-funds their health plan, which means they pay for claims as they come in. To avoid any catastrophic claims that might occur, we procure stop loss insurance to protect the city from any such large claimants. So stop loss is procured on a yearly basis for the city. It is different than your health plan where that's procured every 3 years. For the 2025, so the 1/1/25 to 12/31/25 calendar year, we went out to market and received we have received 5 quotes looking at 13 different insurance carriers where 8 declined. Your current insurance stop-loss carrier, QBE, offered the most competitive term for the city of Farmers Branch. We budgeted for a 15% increase to stop-loss for the 2025 plan year, and we were able to negotiate down, and QBE came out at a 14% renewal, and McGriff was able to negotiate that down at 7.99%, so we came in below budget. From a fiscal basis, we did even better. So it was a 5.84 fiscal year increase to, again, remain under the current contractual arrangement. The type of stop loss that we procure for the city is a $150,000 policy. So what that means is if there are claims for one particular individual that exceed $150,000, then you all are protected. The stop loss carrier steps in and covers the rest of those claims for you. Additionally, QBE has the strongest contract in terms of they are covering claims dating back 8 years. So anything that occurs 8 years prior to now is going to be covered. So you all are fully protected as a city, and there aren't going to be any unexpected claims that could possibly come your way that could hinder the results of the health plan or budget going forward. Additionally, we were able to negotiate a no new laser policy, which means if there is a high claimant on the plan and the stop loss carrier tries to offset some of the cost, they cannot do that based upon that individual. So again, the city is further protected, and there is a rate cap included as well in the renewal. These are just several of the bids. These are the bids that we received. QBE, obviously your current carrier, Berkshire Hathaway, HCC, Optum, and ISU. Again, as you can see, QBE was the most competitive bid. We are requesting the City Council to award the following: stop loss renewal 1/1/25 to QBE, as they provided the most competitive pricing and the strongest contract going forward for the city. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing your homework and saving us some money.
Yeah.
That's always important. Councilman Rowan? Councilman Baird? Councilman Jackson?
Thank you, Mayor. So there's a $150,000 maximum on a per insured basis, correct?
Correct.
Is there an aggregate maximum?
There is. So I was going to save you all the bore of insurance lingo, but the contract is actually a $150,000 policy with an $80,000 aggregate deductible. So what that means is the city procures, there's two types of stop loss, aggregate stop loss and individual stop loss. Aggregate stop loss is the total claims of the entire city. Individual stop loss is claims for one single individual. That $80,000 portion that you saw under the contract there, that means that once an individual hits $150,000, you all keep paying on them for another $80,000, but it doesn't affect your aggregate. So as an overall claims bucket for the entire health plan, y'all are protected there. It's very boring information, all right? That's why I was trying to save you from that.
Thank you.
But thanks for the question.
Councilman Neal? No other questions? Very good. This item is marked for action.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2024-182 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. If you would, please, by show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, council members.
Okay. Hold on before we get to the next item. So I need to take a step back and go back to the public hearing for ordinance number 3886. Part of the public hearing is actually having a public hearing and seeing if anybody has any comments regarding that discussion. So let me go back and reopen item L1 and ask if anybody has any comments relative to ordinance number 3886 regarding Farmers Branch Youth Program Standards of Care. Seeing none. Oh,
Mayor, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. A motion second. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Thank you very much. Good. Okay. All righty. Next up is item M2 on regular agenda. Consider approving resolution 2024-191, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Stovall Commercial Contractors, LLC, for construction services at the Justice Center through the Texas Local Government Purchasing Cooperative by Board in an amount not to exceed $582,135.84, and take appropriate action.
Good evening, Catherine Lee, Deputy Director of Finance, Facility, and Fleet. So today we're bringing this item to you. We currently have an underground storage tank. It's at the Justice Center. So there are two types of storage tanks, typically underground and above ground. The issue with underground is if there's a leak, there's remediation, it's hard to find, it's costly. So the current underground storage tank at the Justice Center is beyond its 30-year lifespan. It was installed in 1991. And right now we have two fueling sites, the Sinlac Service Center, that's the only place we can actually get diesel, and then the Justice Center, you can only get the unleaded gas. So what we plan to do is we plan to be proactive, remove the underground storage tank, install the above ground storage tank, and add diesel there so that employees that are housed in the east side of town can easily get diesel if they have diesel vehicles versus driving all the way to Sinlac. So if you look at this map in front of you, that's where the proposed underground, proposed tank and fueling station will go. So we will be removing the 10,000-gallon unleaded underground storage tank and install a 15,000-gallon dual diesel and unleaded tank. This will allow more efficiency. This will be at the Justice Center, so the police department's there. It'll also be closer for some of the fire departments, the firehouses on the east side of town, to get diesel gas, and then we'll have enhanced safety and leak detection, eliminating soil contamination risks that come with an underground storage tank. Additionally, while we're doing the work, since we will have a contractor on site, we are going to enhance the Justice Center security area where the prisoners are brought in. So there is a wall right now. We're going to knock out the wall, build a fence, a secure fence with the climb rails, and a wider gate so that if there is a medical emergency, an ambulance can fit in that area and it can be closed. So this is what we'll be getting. This is an example of what we'll be getting. So you'll see the fence has a little protection. So the estimated cost is $582,135 and a little bit of change. We will be using ARPA funding. So the next item will be reallocating the ARPA funds. If we don't use it, we have to give it back to the federal government. We do plan to start this work in spring, and it should take about 2 months. And it is under buy board. So with that, I'll happily answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, any questions? None over here? Any over here? Councilman Jackson?
So will the fire trucks be able to fuel up at the police station now?
Yes.
Is that the intended use? So they'll be able to fit through there, no problems with
Yes.
that and all? Okay, great.
Councilman Neal?
Yeah, is there just, how many dispense machines? Is just one for diesel and one for gas, or will there be 2 each, or
There'll be 2 each.
in case one breaks? Okay,
Yes.
that's good, thank you.
All right. Anything else? No? All right. Again, this item is marked for action.
Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution number 2024-191 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please by show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up is item M3, consider approving resolution 2024-190, authorizing the reallocation of American Rescue Plan Act grant funds and take appropriate action.
Good evening. I'm Addison Holmes, the grant coordinator here at the city. We will be bringing to you tonight the allocation of ARPA funding. Previously, the city received ARPA funding in 2021 of the amount of $11.9 million. Council approved the funding allocation to 8 projects, and this past summer in June, reallocated some of the remaining funding in the Hoya Park project to the Justice Center renovation. There are funds remaining in the Justice Center renovation project due to delays in contract bids that need to be reallocated. When the Department of Treasury brought forth this amount to the city, there is a strict timeline that's been given to the obligation of funds and the expenses of funds. Within that deadline for the obligation of funds will be December 31st of this year. If those funds are not obligated or expended or obligated by that time, we will be forced to give that money back to the Treasury. When we are going through this process of reviewing the different grant projects that we have using ARPA funding to make sure that all funds would be obligated by the December 31st date, we realized that there were issues at the Justice Center renovation with delays in contract bid specifications for the detention center renovation. Because we will not be able to obligate those funds, we would have to return them. And so our solution is swapping out the funding source. This would allow the detention center renovation to continue using a different funding source, and instead we will use the ARPA funding to go towards costs that have already been incurred on the Branch Connection renovation project. That specifically is the Branch Connection roof payment and the Branch Connection interior construction payment. If this is approved, this will allow the ARPA reallocation of fundings to go to these projects, which would then allow the incurred costs to be paid with the ARPA funding, letting that ARPA funding amount be at zero at the end of these costs. After going through different ways that we could allocate this funding, we believe that a reallocation of $504,000 from remaining funds of the Justice Center and Hoya Park is the safest way to ensure that the city does not have any remaining ARPA funds at the end of both of these projects. if this is approved tonight, this is what the allocation for the projects will look like after that. Is there any questions?
Can you go back?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, council, anybody have any questions regarding this?
So you're just, all these projects are still going to happen just for accounting purposes? You're just
Yes.
rearranging the use of the funds so that we don't lose out on
Yes,
federal
exactly.
funding?
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councilman Jackson?
So when we applied for these funds and we received them, we had to demonstrate what projects we were going to use them on, right?
Yes.
Is there a filing that is required of us as a result of this, if we approve this tonight, a reallocation?
No, it falls within a ARPA project that we already have. And so as long as the funding is used within the ARPA project that we have already notified them that we are working on, then we don't have to do
Okay.
any other work.
So no new
after that.
projects, no new filing?
No, all
required.
existing projects.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Councilman Neal?
Yes, thank you. You made a comment regarding some of the funding that we had previously approved for Branch Connection regarding the roof and some interior.
Yes.
Was that ARPA funds or was it not ARPA funds?
No, that was not ARPA funds.
Okay, so
was
that will be returned to what, our general fund or?
We
where
will
is
be
that?
swapping the funds, so to my understanding, and Tammy can correct me on this, this was CIP funds. And so we will now swap the funds that were going to be used for the Branch Connection roof and interior renovation, and that will now go towards the Justice Center, the detention center renovation. So
Okay.
just a mere swap.
All right, thanks for that clarification. Thank you.
I have one question, please, and it relates to Hoya Park.
Yes.
Is the wrought iron fence that we've discussed in the past, go around the perimeter of the park, is that included in this funding?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay,
The fence going on right now is part of those allocations that you guys discussed in last spring.
very good. Thank you so much. Okay, council, any other questions? Seeing none. Again, this item is marked for action.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2024-190 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, by show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is item M4. Consider approving Resolution 2024-209, authorizing the purchase of two Type 1 14-foot Module 2024 Ram 5500 4x4 diesel ambulances for the fire department from Fraser Limited through the city's cooperative purchasing agreement with the Houston-Galveston Area Council of Governments Cooperative in the amount of $825,432.18, and take appropriate action.
Hi again, Catherine Lee, Deputy Director of Finance, Facilities and Fleet. I am joined by some chiefs and Captain Evans, along with Kevin Reinhardt, our Fleet Operations Manager. So today we are taking a purchase for two ambulances. So the lead time for an ambulance at this moment is 18 to 24 months, once the chassis have been found. So why should we buy it now? Well, just like the fire trucks you guys approved a couple months ago, or a month ago, Fraser will be increasing its pricing December 1st. By purchasing two, we are going to receive some discounts, about $20,000 worth of discounts. Fraser currently has two available chassis that are reduced because of another fire department canceling an order. So we're taking advantage of a good deal right now. The fire department did do their due diligence. They explored other vendors, and Fraser was the lowest quote compared to the other vendors. So the call volumes continue to increase. We want to make sure we have reliable vehicles or reliable apparatus to provide services to the residents. So we will be paying these with those certificate of obligation bonds that were sold in September. We received those funds in October. And the total cost for the two ambulances is $825,432. So this is just the fleet replacement schedule. So the ones highlighted in yellow are the ones that that we are replacing. And with that, I'm here to answer questions along with our lovely fire department.
Thank you very much. Council, any questions? Over here, Councilman Jackson.
Just for clarity, and I was reading a bit while you were talking, so if you said this, I apologize, but the funds for this purchase are actually coming from certificate of obligation bonds that we've already approved, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And those CO bonds are only allowed for public safety.
right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Councilman Neal?
Yeah, just for the residents who may be watching, the location of these new vehicles will be placed where? I think you had the chart, if you might be able to explain the locations, so our residents, they may or may not know where Fire Station 1 or 3 is located. But
Yes, sir. EMS Captain Terry Evans. The location's going to be at Station 1, which is 13601 Webb Chapel. That's just south of the library. And our second one is going to be located at Station 3. It's along with our fire administration there on 13333 Hutton Drive.
Great, and the vehicles that are being replaced, are they being retired, or are they put into secondary backup operation, or what?
Yes, sir. Part of the fleet replacement schedule. So our current reserve apparatus will be going to fleet where they're going to be auctioning it off or however they deem necessary after that. And then the next ones that are up for replacement will get moved to reserve status as well.
Okay, so if one of these were happen to go down for maintenance, you'd have another vehicle to fill in
Yes, sir.
if needed? Okay,
Yes, sir.
great. That's all I have, thank you.
Any other questions? I have one question, that is, for $825,000, are these service-ready? Hit the street, go. No additional charge for lights or any other outfitting?
No, sir. These are particularly turnkey, so there's no additional things needed from fleet that we made in the past. So this is, we don't have to add stencils, stickers, nothing. It's turnkey, ready to go.
Very good, thank you. No other questions? This item is marked for action, so
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2024-209 as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
very good. We have a motion and second by Councilman Neal. We're tied for a second. If you would, please indicate your vote by a show of hands. All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Next up is item M5. Consider approving Resolution 2024-216, authorizing the city manager to execute an advanced funding agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation for the Valley View Lane and Mercer Parkway pedestrian crossing in the amount of $290,180 and take appropriate action.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Maria Mentor, Managing Superintendent of Public Works. Get to this here. Let's go over this presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Just a little background information. City Council approved the application submission to TxDOT last spring of 2023. In October of 23, TxDOT approved the application and awarded funding for the project. We coordinated logistics and finalized plans with stakeholders the fall through this summer. And now we are at another step where we need to get the advanced funding agreement approved, and then we'll be able to move forward. So here's a few highlights. We'll be doing some concrete work, sidewalks, medians, curbs, and ramps will be included. Removal and installation of some signals and signage at that location. And this is just a high-level overview. And so some of the benefits of this project include a safe connection from the West Side Art Trail to the John Burke Nature Preserve, and 80% of the project will be supported through federal and state funding. And this supports two of the city's critical business outcomes. So next steps would be approving the AFA and getting the resolution to TxDOT, and then we'll finalize the scope and design, and then we'll begin the bid process, and then from there we will make preparations for construction. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Council. Councilman Bear.
So I have a question going back in history. Maybe this is a Shane question.
Might be.
How do we put in signal lights however many years ago in a place that now it's required that they be moved? Well, that seems like.
So Shane Davis, Deputy Director of Public Works. So where the current signals are located, we just need to move them back a few feet because that's going to be where the crossing occurs. So it was designed for That was set up for road traffic vehicles. Now we're adding pedestrian infrastructure. There is no real crosswalk out there now. So that's why we just got to move them a few feet. We can reuse most of the parts, which is good, so we're saving a little bit of money that way. But that's the reason why. It's just in conflict with where the crosswalk's going to go in the new sidewalk.
So I know you weren't probably in on the decision-making, but how would a decision have been made? This is just obviously for my own,
So you have to go.
bear with me.
Yes,
So however many years ago, they're putting up these signal lights, but it wasn't thought forward that, hey, we might need to put in and so we're going to put them here instead of where they were put.
So you got to remember the original zoning for this side was all commercial, but not
Okay.
the residential
There's
you
the
have
answer
now.
then.
So it's
Okay.
kind of, you have a change in what your land use is.
That's like what I was talking about before, you know?
Yes, sir.
We have this perception, and then once you get the full, makes sense. Thank you very much for your time.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Again, this item is marked for action. If,
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2024-216 as presented.
I second.
thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would indicate by show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Next up is item M6, which was the K-17 consent agenda item. It's to consider ordinance number 3879, amending the Farmers Branch Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, fee schedule, and related chapters 18, 26, 56, and 66 of the Code of Ordinances, and take appropriate action.
Mayor and Council, Tammy Zimmerman, Director of Finance, Fleet and Facilities. So I wanted to quickly go over what some of these changes are for the Appendix A. I quickly put together a presentation. The majority of these fee changes are fixing where they are in the code and matching them up with the article number or with the chapter that they're in, matching it to the Appendix A. So for Chapter 18, for example, we have the $300 for the dangerous animals. It was showing in the chapter for the dangerous animals, but it wasn't showing in Appendix A. So we're correcting that. For Chapter 26, the short-term rental housing, it should be titled, instead of Article 7, it should be Article 8. So there's a correction there. And then we have the license fee of $120 was showing in Appendix A as 120, as 150. It was showing in the chapter as 120. We've been charging 120, so we're correcting and making those match. And then for Chapter 56, our vacant buildings, we have a fee of, we're just correcting the Section 56-205. It's the wording in that particular part of the Appendix A. Chapter 66, this refers to our trash fee. So we're removing the references to PID 99, which was the Mercer, where we had twice a week trash collection, and we're adding disabled with the seniors for the $2.50 charge. Is there any questions on tonight's ordinance?
Thank you very much. Councilman Neal.
Yes, thank you, Tammy, very much for those explanations. One of the things that I have asked of the city manager, and I'm hopefully he can work on this or maybe alongside you, with you, is to have a historical spreadsheet of the fees as they've been created or modified over the years. I'd like to be able to know what the fees look like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, so we can see a progression of that. That's just one comment. As it's related to Chapter 66, the solid waste, is this the addition for the single-family residence fees for this is the landfill?
The landfill
fee
trash fee.
that-
So if you'll see on the right side of the presentation, this is what the Chapter 66 had as far as the fee. We're removing the references to District Number 99, and that is for the Mercer PID area. And then we are just adding the wording for disabled with our seniors for the
So this is the new fees for the trash landfill, correct? Is that
They
correct
were
understanding?
approved last year. This
Right.
is just a modification to update them for the Mercer Crossing area and the disabled, yes.
Okay, and then one last thing, I didn't know if council might be amenable to allow an addition or change to include either retired military or active military with respect to the, the reduced amount. I don't know if there's any thoughts around that. Just, I think it might be helpful for our veterans, maybe.
Council, does anybody have any comments? Councilman Jackson?
Yeah, Mayor, it's my understanding, and maybe I misread this item or this agenda item, but there are no changes to fees here. This is simply correcting text. So the approval of the 250 for PID 99 and the seniors, we went through that entire discussion during earlier this year's budget process. So this is just cleaning up language. Am I
Correct.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to suggest that if that's something that you want to add, well, let's bring it up as a future agenda item because we can always add that too. And so we're not clouding the issue for tonight, if that works.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
And I also wanted to reply back to your question as far as the spreadsheet for kind of a history on our fees. We are currently working on that process. I would also like to point out some of the tools and features that are available in MuniCode. There's a way to compare 2 different years. So we could pick 2024 Appendix A and then compare it to 2014, and it'll show you with highlights and strikeouts the changes that have occurred during that time frame. And then you can go back and click on the previous versions of Appendix A, depending on years. So there is a tool, and I can show that to the council if they wish, on how to look up on their own as well. But we'll be
I'd be
providing.
interested. I'd be interested in seeing that. Thank you. So
Okay.
I spoke to the city manager about it. He thought it was a little bit task heavy, but if it's not, then I'd like to see that too. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions in regards to this? This item is marked for action.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve adopting ordinance number 3879 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, by show of hands, indicate your vote. All in favor? All, 4. All opposed? 1. Councilman Neal opposed. So motion passes 4-1. Okay. So at this time, we did not finish our executive session, so we're going to go back and resume executive session and finish that. Then we will come back out, announce any action to be taken as a result of executive session. Then we will finish our study session items out here, and then we will adjourn our meeting. But again, before we leave, I just wanted to thank one more time Councilman Baird for his service. Very much appreciated, and we will look forward to getting our new council representative at our next meeting. So with that, we will recess to resume executive session.